Hello, Stephen. You're on the air.
Hello, Patty. How are you?
I'm doing fine today. How about you?
Oh, great. Thanks.
Cool.
You know why I'm calling, I guess.
Sure do.
Everyone else here is interested in the Muskrat Falls issue. And first of all, I just want to say that though I'm a supporter and member of the People's Assembly of Newfoundland and Labrador, I'm not speaking on their behalf or anything. All these words are mine, of course. Like everyone, we all have our own voices. I just want to make that clear, okay? The Muskrat Falls. Okay, my biggest issue with Muskrat Falls at this point is, I think, the same issue as a lot of people have, and that's the lack of transparency and accountability our government is providing us. And that's a complete shame and disgrace to the people of Newfoundland and Labrador, of course.
Specifically on Muskrat Falls, give me an example to make your point.
Oh, well.
Just one.
Pub review, I guess, is the best example.
One. That's not one, though. That's not one where they have not given you any info. That's just a part of the process that hasn't been satisfied to your satisfaction. So what about a point that has shielded information from your eyes?
Oh, well, the debate. There's none. There has not been a debate.
Once again, procedural. Issue. It's just procedural stuff, though. Like, give me some issues regarding the merit of the project that have been kept out of your purview for your consideration as opposed to process stuff. Because I'm with you on that. The process has been purely bungled. But what about the merits of Muskrat Falls that you think have been purposely tried to mislead the public? And there are examples, so I'm just wondering what are the ones that you favored.
Well, those are the biggest things. The fact that they're not debating the issues in-house, they're not providing us with the information. I mean, me personally, I started out this whole thing as a supporter of Muskrat Falls and the jobs and wonderful for Newfoundland and all that. But the fact that things are being hidden from us and they are just pushing it through without debate or without anything is causing me to take a step back and say, whoa, what's going on here?
So the process has caused you to go from pro-Muskrat to anti-Muskrat? The process?
Well, whoa, I didn't say anti.
Or not convinced or not supporting any further, whatever, however you want to do it.
Absolutely. I mean, when there's stuff being hidden, you wonder why it's being hidden. So I'm taking a step back and looking for more information on the project itself and trying to see why it's being hidden and why it's being rammed down our throats. And I think that that's something that me as a citizen of Newfoundland and Labrador has a right to do, and I think everybody should be doing that. We should be demanding accountability and some transparency in this whole process.
Some of the options that have been considered, I know that you and some of your friends have spoken to some of the options that have been glossed over or the terms of reference inside evaluation have not been satisfactory. Of the options that are realistic, or actually of the options, period, what do you think is something that really deserves a hard, cold second, third, and fourth look as opposed to what's been granted?
Well, first of all, I think that all options are realistic.
No,
I don't think we shouldn't limit ourselves.
Not all options are realistic.
We're pretty smart people in Newfoundland and Labrador, and we shouldn't, limit ourselves to any ideal that something is not possible.
Yeah, we should. We shouldn't spend money. We shouldn't spend any money evaluating things that are not realistic, though, Stephen.
We shouldn't spend money on glossy photos and brochures to send out to people.
I'm with you on that one. I've condemned that wholeheartedly. But some of the options are simply not with enough merit to satisfy any spend of money on evaluation. It's just not. Like geothermal and solar and tidal. We shouldn't be spending any money on that.
Oh, that's foolishness. Like, that's the new technology of the future. Like, we're developing a project that has its old technology, hydroelectricity, and I'm sick of people calling it green technology as well, because it's only clean. It's not green. It's going to destroy the ecosystem.
There's no such thing as green power.
Yeah, I don't like the term either. I mean, power, and we need it. Oh, yeah, I can agree with that. I don't even like the term. It's been politicized and blah, blah, blah. But I just don't like other people saying that it's clean or green or wonderful for whatever. Because me personally, I grew up in Churchill Falls, Labrador. I was born and raised there. Yeah. I know the flooded land that happened. I've been under Brinko Bridge. I've been on the rocks where the falls used to be. I know what it does to the land. So people need to realize that while it's a great, clean technology, it is detrimental to the people, the land of Labrador. We have to take that into account, correct?
Yeah, we have to take everything into account, no question about it.
Absolutely. And that's my problem, Patty. We're not taking anything into account.
Oh, the environmental assessment. Well, I don't know about that. I think the environmental assessment is one of the things where Nalcor and the government can't really hide, because there's no hiding from the environmental assessments.
Okay.
There's not. I mean, that's one of those things. That's the federal law that really trumps any of the lack of accountability or transparency on behalf of the provincial government. The environmental assessment is going to be one of the most trustworthy pieces produced, isn't it?
Sure.
Yeah.
So why have we already, spent all this money on the project and are ramming it down the throats without this information out there to the public and really taking a hard look at all our options? Because there probably are other options that we have that won't be such a disaster to the environment of Labrador.
There's minimum options available. They would be natural gas, which has its own pitfalls, including cost, wind, and small hydro. They're the only three realistic options with any current today. People are talking coal fusion and tidal and solar and geothermal and whatnot.
Right.
They're not realistic options for what our
Why are they not realistic, though? You have to prove. You can't just say that they're not realistic options without proof. I mean, look at Germany.
There's history. There's other projects to gauge it against, though, Stephen. We're not going to piecemeal with 10 different suppliers of power generation to come up with similar costs to Muskrat Falls. They all have their pitfalls. They all rely on supplementary or complementary power sources to make them reliable and worthwhile. I mean, I just find that a little bit of a silly approach. We're going to do 4 or 5 different things to come up with a similar cost. They all have pitfalls and risks, as opposed to what you call old technology is actually proven technology with a free power source in water. It may be a shitty capital investment in some people's mind for the next 10, 20 years, but boy, oh boy, at some point that thing's paid off. We'll be damn happy we've got power generated at minimal cost for either consumption or sale.
Depending on how much money, we actually have to pay for it ourselves and how much out of a pocket that's going to be. And the people that's working in Muskrat Falls need to work in Muskrat Falls to pay for Muskrat Falls. I mean, it's just a ridiculous approach, really, when there's other options, even with the project itself. Why don't we charge more to the mines in Labrador? Why don't we charge more to the corporations that want to develop?
You don't even know how much we're charging in the mines yet.
Well, exactly.
Yeah, but you can't.
I mean, this is all the stuff that we should have on the table now, Patty, so that we can make an informed decision.
Start in front of the horse. You're starting in front of the horse. You're not going to have power purchase agreements settled with mines before there's even been a bit of concrete poured.
Well, then we shouldn't put a bit of concrete there without these power purchase agreements.
Why not?
Because why would we?
Because then you're selling air.
We're selling a promise to provide power at this rate, but right now we're promising that the people in Newfoundland are going to get cheap power. So you're saying promises promises to the people are good enough, but promises to these corporations are not? It doesn't make sense.
Well, no, the promises to people, we all know, one of the downfalls of Muskrat Falls, even in my mind, is that whatever power, whatever revenue is generated down in the clearing market should be put against the capital debt. Whatever is generated and sale to industry should be put against the capital debt, and the residential ratepayers pay the rest. We continue to own and become the sole owner of it. It's unfortunate Mayor is involved in the construction and ownership of some of the transmission, but involving the corporations, the corporate sector, to be opposed to corporatocracy as you speak to. My God, we don't want them owning nothing to do with the powerhouse and or the dam. We don't want them in there at all in any form of ownership, none. Because then for that they own a piece of a return on investment. They own potentially some of our water rights. We don't want them involved at all. Period.
We have the power to regulate and do whatever we want with any corporation or any business that comes into Newfoundland. Yeah. We have that. We don't give up rights to we only give up the rights to our resources because we allow it to happen. We don't need to make that happen.
But Stephen,
let it happen.
You never do put yourself in the position of someone who gets to sign the check for investment, though, either. You are going to assume that we're going to get corporations involved for no ownership, no return on investment, just to make the ratepayers feel better about the construction of a dam? Like, I mean, who in their right mind, with money to invest in that kind of stuff, is getting in without any control offered? Like, where does that happen in the real world?
So you're saying that the people of Newfoundland and Labrador should just jump in on board this project, but corporations shouldn't? It doesn't make sense what you're saying there, Patty.
We don't want corporations to avoid it at all costs.
I'm not saying they get control of the river.
What do they get?
What do they get? The power that the river.
What do they get for it? What do they get for their big investment then? What do they get? Their name on a plaque.
They get power so that they can sell their products or whatever it is that they're going to do with their mining.
They're going to buy power. They're going to buy the power.
That's right. So they pay way more than what we shouldn't have to pay for it at all.
That's different. That's absolutely different. They pay for power. They should pay way more as opposed to getting an ownership piece of the pie. We don't want them owning this stuff. We can't, at all costs, we can't have corporations owning anything to do with the Churchill River. Now, the transmission is a mistake to have Emera with significant ownership of transmission, in my opinion. But we cannot have them involved in ownership of dams or water rights. We cannot do it.
I'm not saying rights of water or dams or anything like that. They have rights to the power that is producing.
But, Stephen, you're talking as if there's no reality attached to they throw in money but get none of the ownership and or the rights afforded to investors. My God, how can that be? Who the hell are these people going to invest with that being the rules?
Well, we can create our own companies if we wanted here in Newfoundland. We have pretty smart people here. We don't need to use multinational companies to come into Newfoundland. Let's start our own companies.
Creating companies, we have a company, Nalcor.
Yes, I realize that. But who's investors? You know, it's all their product or whatever is going to just push it down our throats anyway. That's the whole point of it. And again, my whole purpose of this call is to say that we've not been involved in this process, and you and I and the people of Newfoundland should not be having this debate. This should be open and transparent. And this is the problem. There's a problem with democracy in this province right now, and it may not end with Muskrat Falls. What happens next time that they want to throw something down our throats? But with regards to Muskrat Falls, it's come to the point that we need a referendum. We need to ask the people what they want.
I don't get it. I don't understand that at all. I've never understood the rationale behind a referendum. I don't get it whatsoever.
Why not?
57% of the people.
You ask the people what they want with their money.
57% of people say they don't have enough information to make a decision.
I don't listen to polls, Patty. Don't be talking to me about polls, please.
No, but you won't
talk about the realistic.
Stephen, no. Unfortunately, when you call this show, you can have both ways. You say the bulk of people want a PUB review, so you can't pick pieces out of the polls.
I didn't say that, actually. That's what I said.
You're involved. There's people like-minded to say exactly that. My point is a referendum. If people don't have the info and we can't get them off their lazy arse to go vote in their governments, we cannot trust them to make decisions on Muskrat Falls. It's ridiculous.
I'm sorry, but I trust the people of Newfoundland and Labrador. I'm sorry that you...
Have you heard some of the people call this program about Muskrat Falls? Do you trust them to make a decision on it?
Sorry?
Have you heard some of the folks that call the show about Muskrat Falls, and you trust them to make a decision on it?
I'm sorry, Patty, I'm not going to insult the people of a province that I'm very proud of. I think the people here are very informed, and we need to inform people and get people, if not out to vote on a referendum or vote in an election, then we get them in the streets to tell them that this is what we want.
And hopefully the People's Assembly has another rally and you get a good turnout. I appreciate your call today, Stephen. I enjoyed the back and forth on Twitter, and I welcome a call at your convenience.
Absolutely. I would like to say that the People's Assembly of Newfoundland and Labrador are holding a Muskrat Falls boil-up. They're encouraging that everybody get together in their communities and discuss this issue and plan their own rallies in their communities. This is happening on next Tuesday, and there's plenty more to come, so check out pa-nl.ca for People's Assembly.
Appreciate it, brother.
Thank you very much.
Take care, man. Bye-bye.